Hi guys, it's Ellie. Let me just turn on my microphone. I think this works, but I want to go ahead and give my usual meeting, even though this is not my um, this is not my usual channel because YouTube, the AI from YouTube somehow knocked out an old video, a video that I had a couple of weeks ago, and they decided to take my channel down for 2 weeks, which is better than removing it altogether. So I'm not really complaining. I mean, that's how things have gotten, you know. It's a funny world right now, and we're really in the middle of a war. But I don't want to neglect my meetings with you guys. So I don't know if anybody will actually show up, but that's okay because it'll be recorded, and you can pick it up later. I'm just gonna adjust the lighting here, and then I'll get started. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's actually going to come on live. I mean, in my other channel, I had people coming during my live show, but this is kind of an unexpected and interesting thing that YouTube has decided to do to themselves, because the blessings come from Hashem. Anyway, I won't get into that, but they're going to need help. I've seen this in the school system, man. People have come after me, man. I've seen it time and time again. Somebody comes after me, boy, do they get into trouble. It's not a good idea. I mean, it could look like a good idea in the beginning, but God has my back, and the people at YouTube should. Anyway, okay, so we're in Parshas Vayechi, meaning he lived, and we're talking about Jacob's the last days. He finally gets to retire. The poor guy, after working really hard and having his wives switched on him a couple times, and all kinds of things went on. This guy Laban, his father-in-law, tricked him in every way possible. But he managed to get through it, and he managed to not only get through it, but he raised 12 young men to keep the thing alive, and to keep his ideals alive, and keep Torah alive, to keep the Jewish way of living alive. This was even before they had a written Torah, but apparently they already knew the rules. So, I mean, don't ask me. I just work here. Okay, so but anyway, this a very interesting thing in today's Torah portion, and that is that anyway. So it says, he lived, and it's about Jacob passing. And I said it's just like Chaya Sarah. There's another chapter in the Chumash, in the 5 books of Moses, where it talks about Sarah, and it says, Chaya Sarah, the life of Sarah, and it talks also about her burial and this kind of thing. And this is the same with this idea. So what is the general idea? The general gist of this is that we don't really find out if we're alive until after we pass and see how our kids behave. It's all about the children. I mean, and that's really, that's the bottom line. And that's the same thing with this war. I mean, they've been doing terrible things to kids all these years, and it is not good. It is not a good idea to mess with innocent souls like that. It's not smart. Anyway, so in today's parsha, today is Tuesday. I had to remind myself. Today is Tuesday, and we're on the third part of Parshas Vayechi, and this is the part where Joseph brings his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, to get a bracha, to get a blessing from Yosef. And it's a very short section. I think I'll just read the whole thing. But basically, in summary, it talks about how Jacob put his hands on Ephraim and Manasseh like this. He crossed his hands. The right hand is like in Kabbalah and in Judaism, the right hand is considered the hand of Chesed. It's considered like that's where the big lights come from. But really, we find out that the actual even bigger lights come from the side of Gevurah, from strictness. And that's why when you have a difficult, I have somebody on here. Who's on? When you have a difficult experience, when it's Gevurah, when it's on the side of strictness, it is really a higher blessing. It is a more, you'll see when you go through something really tough, man, it really changes you. It's a really good, it helps you. But if it comes on the side of kindness, like you get something, somebody gives you something, you don't always appreciate it the way you appreciate something that you work really hard to get. So that's why the right hand is the preferred hand. But he switched. And hey, Carla Joe, so nice to see you. Thanks for your nice note. And yeah, don't worry. I mean, you're not obligated to, I know you're sending something nice. It's very, very sweet. You're an incredibly sweet person. But right, I'm stuck in the north, man. It's where God wants me to be, and I accept it. But my heart is in the south. Anyway, so right. So in today's parshas, in today's portion, so we have the general chapter. The chapter is V'yechi, and that's like one of the. I'm in Bereshis. I'm in the first book of the 5 books of Moses. It's called In the Beginning. You know that, In the Beginning, and this book is broken down into many different chapters. I think this would happen even in the Christian translation. I think you also probably get it broken down in the same chapters. I mean, it's sort of standard. There's Bereshis, there's Noah, there's Lech Lecha, where we get into Abraham. Vayera is also Abraham, Chaya Sarah, and they talk about the passing of Sarah, and it's called the life of Sarah because it's all about the kids. Toldot is generations of Yitzhak. That's the one chapter I believe about Yitzhak, and then we go into Vayeshev. That's where Jacob thinks he's going to retire, and that's when Joseph goes missing. So he really he doesn't really get to retire yet, but he will. He's going to retire in this week's parsha. And yeah, and Vayishlach, that's where they have the dreams, and they go back and forth from Egypt to Mitzrayim, from Egypt to Israel. And Vayeshev, where he dwelt, where he Vayishlach, Vayeshev, Mekitz is like the end of these things, the end of these dreams, and Vayigash is when Yehuda confronts Joseph, and this is where we have the basic conflict. Jacob went through a lot. Yes, we all go through a lot, and that's I think that's part of the intent of being on the planet. I was watching Carla Joe. I saw these videos from Alex Collins. I think everybody knows about him except me, but I find it fascinating. He claims to have, had contact with these Andromedans, and it's making me realize that one time I had this really weird dream. And I think I also may have made some kind of contact with something, because it was not a normal dream at all. This was when I was a kid. But anyway, so I recommend that. I put that on my channel. I put it on my Rumble channel. Not my Rumble, my Telegram channel. Yeah, thanks, Carla Joe. I'm so happy I have somebody. I'm not just talking to myself. Anyway, so now we're in Vayechi. And so, we're going through this whole story. This is the Avos. Avos means fathers. So we have Abraham, then he had the son Isaac, and then Isaac had Jacob, and Jacob had the 12 tribes. So in today's parsha, in today's actual portion of Vayechi, so this is the third day. Today is Tuesday, so we read the third reading. Remember, we start on Sunday, so we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's the third reading. And so it says, when Joseph saw that his father had placed his right hand on the head of Ephraim, he was displeased. So he lifted his father's hand in order to move it from the head of Ephraim to Manasseh, because Manasseh was the firstborn. So he was like, hey, you guys, let me know who you are, man. I want to know who I'm talking to. I can see your numbers. I can see there are two other people here. Yeah, it was mind-boggling. It's just incredible. And people say, "Do you believe this?" I'm like, "What? Why wouldn't I? Who's going to make up a story like this?" I spent time flying around on Andromeda spaceships. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, truth is much stranger than fiction. I know, because I got a master's degree in creative writing and fiction, and anyway, so Joseph, and Joseph said to his father, no, Dad, come on, man. The firstborn, put your right hand on Manasseh. Manasseh is the one who gets that. Yeah, people are saying, like, well, does he really believe in God? I'm like, do I really believe in God? Does anybody really believe in God? I mean, yes, we do, but we don't. I mean, let's be real. So anyway, so his father declined and said, I know my son. I know that he is the firstborn. He too will become a nation, and he too will rise to greatness through his descendants. Again, this is what it's all about, especially Gideon, who will win a military victory even though greatly outnumbered. Now, this line about Gideon, you're not going to find this in a regular chumash. That's why I love this chumash. This is the way to go if you can afford it. It's like $50. I think it was on sale last week, but they make a shorter version, which is almost as good. But his younger brother will be greater than he, for his descendant Yeshua. So Yeshua bin Nun, the Moses's, faithful student. I mean, Yeshua was always there with Moses. I mean, Moses couldn't get rid of him. I don't know if he ever wanted to, but so for his descendant Yeshua will lead the people in their conquest of the promised land and instruct them in the teachings of Torah. He basically takes over from Moses, and he comes from Ephraim, so Ephraim gets the right hand. Yeah, Jacob knew what he was doing. Exactly. That's like, Isaac, the thing with, he was blind. I mean, was Isaac stupid? Did he give the blessing to the wrong son? I mean, these are people that had Ruach HaKodesh. They could talk to God. Anyway, so, and the reason and the renown of his descendant Yeshua will spread and fill all the nations when he makes the sun stand still. So on Gimel Tammuz, Yeshua makes the sun stand still. Right, he makes the sun stand still so they can finish the battle they were having in the middle of a battle. On that day, he blessed them and said, with your names will the Jewish people invoke God's blessing and on their sons, saying, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. And Carla Joe doesn't know this, but whenever it's tradition in some Orthodox families that every Friday night they give a blessing to the kids, and the blessing includes the mention of Ephraim and Manasseh. In Hasidic circles, in Chabad circles, I'm a Hasidic Jew. We don't do that, but I think it's on Yom Kippur, we give this blessing. We read this blessing. I put my hand on my son and I give him this blessing. And please God, may he be blessed to have, having the blessing. Okay, so here's the blessing. I'm going to read the blessing, Carla Joe. This is so beautiful. And I'm crying because I feel like I've been through a lot, and I was given the greatest miracle imaginable, which was that at the old age of 40, I became religious, and I prayed to God. I said, God, please. I went to the Rebbe's kever, the place where the Rebbe is resting, and I wrote a note to the Rebbe. We believe the Rebbe isn't, God forbid, not in. We believe he's alive. So I wrote a note to the Rebbe, and I said, if you would be merciful on me, and let me get married and have a boy, I would really appreciate it. So I got that blessing, and it's just, it's amazing. Anyway, on that day, he blessed them and said, with your names will the Israelites invoke God's blessings on their sons, saying to them, and this is what I say, when I put my hand on my son's head, he's taller than me, on Yom Kippur, I say, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh, mentioning Ephraim's name before that of Manasseh. By having mentioned Ephraim first, Jacob gave him precedence over Manasseh in all tribal enumerations and in the tribal marching order. Israel, Jacob. Now, remember, his name got changed to Israel because he did, hey, zigzag, man. Yeah, Moses, man. But Yeshua was with Moses, and Yeshua was really the one who got to go into the Holy Land. God didn't let Moses go into the Holy Land, not because he was punishing Moses, but because it wasn't time for that level of holiness to occur. And they said if Moses had gone into Israel, the Messiah, would have come instantly, and we wouldn't have to go through the last 3,000 years of interesting adventures, right? Right, Carla Joe? It's never, especially if you're on a farm, man, you got stuff to do. So anyway, Israel then said to Joseph, I'm about to die, but God will be with you, and he will bring you back to the land of your fathers. Let's see, is that the whole bracha? But there's more to this, I think. I thought there was something about being multiplying like fish. That's really why I was crying. Okay, so I think, where did that come from? Here it is. It's in yesterday's parsha. It says, Jacob extended his right hand and rested it on Ephraim's hand. And he said, bless the lads. May they bear my name together with the names of my fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and may they propagate like fish. This is what really made me cry, because most people in my community have a lot of kids. I have one beautiful, amazing son. And he knows that he's under, pressure, but I always joke with him and I say, no pressure, Mendel, I mean, he's not even married. He's not even looking to get married quite yet, but the time will come in a couple of years when we will together find a wife for him. Anyway, may they propagate like fish. And I happen to love fish. I'm a big fish person. I love to fish. I used to love to fish and catch them. Now I've been raising fish and breeding fish all my life since I was a little boy. Propagate without the danger of incurring the evil eye, because they are hidden from sight underwater among humanity on earth. Oh, that's an interesting detail that I never. Right. So there's a specific blessing. I'm sure if you Googled it, if you have any trouble, just let me know. But if you Google it, it will say the blessing of the Jewish blessing for the children. The Jewish blessing for the children. I think that's what it'll say, and it mentions, and it says, like, it mentions the name. Let's see, where did this go? It mentions, well, it's from a psalm, I think. But basically, yeah, he gives him the bracha. How old is you have a son? Sorry, you guys made me cry. Yeah. So you would just, I mean, you would just, you would just, I guess you could just, you or your husband could just put your hand on your son's head and say the bracha. I mean, I don't think, as a non-Jew, you would really be obligated or even encouraged to do such a thing, but I don't see how it could hurt. But if you have any trouble finding it, let me know and I'll get it for you. But anyway, so yeah, so this is actually, it's 2 days. So it's interesting that his eyesight was impaired due to old age, and he could not see, just like Isaac. I wonder if that's a kind of a, that could be a reference to when they say seeing. It could mean ruach hakodesh, meaning he wasn't able to see, have visions of godliness. Like ruach hakodesh means that you basically get information straight from God. And most of our prophets, all the prophets, had this ability. Not just Moses. I mean, Moses, God spoke through Moses' mouth. That's a little more powerful. That's why they say Moses was the greatest of the prophets. But the other prophets also were able to do this. And interestingly enough, and I'm going off topic here, and I know I'm going to blow my time thing, because I'm probably not going to go. I'm not going to go full bore on this, because I have to get to a protest. But let me hold this thought. What was I just thinking? Oh gosh, I forgot. I lost my train. We're talking about eyesight and I know what I was going to say. There's a book, a specific book. I have it right here. It's called Rambam. It's written by the Rambam, and it's called Prophecy. It's spelled with a C. My website, Torah Prophecy, is spelled with an S because I got messed up. Anyway, but prophecy, there's a specific way to prophesize. I mean, and it's written out. I mean, it's not really like a how-to book, but it really tells you, like, basically how it's done in kind of a general, not really like if you wanted to prophesize, I don't think it's the book to get. I mean, but it's very interesting. It's nice to have it on my shelf. Once in a while, I get inspired and look at it. Oh, oh, oh. I think Carla Joe, when the med beds come, that he'll be totally cured. He'll be totally cured. Yeah. Man, you should be blessed. Everyone's listening, man. You guys are hardcore, man. I got 3 people listening. This is huge. Actually, it is huge. I mean, I never expected to be such a YouTuber. This all just is really kind of miraculous. I mean, it is miraculous. Hey, Melissa, thank you so much for the videos. You are educating me. The next area of research, and I know if there are any Frum Jews on here, this is where they're going to switch off. But the next area of research, I think, is waiting for the med beds. Yeah. The next area of research is finding out really what human history, like, who are we? And I mean, I think Alex Collins really says it in the one I saw last night from somewhere in the West Coast. He was giving like kind of an informal thing where he's older and he has a ponytail and he looks really cool and he doesn't look all nervous and uptight like he did in the other videos. The poor guy must have been tortured. But it's specifically like, what about life before this 6,000 years? And I'm seeing all kinds of things about Tartarian structures, and they're saying that a lot of the buildings and things could not have been built by native people, and Atlantis, and all these kinds of things that I've always been very curious about. I mean, nothing is, even, I mean, I hate to say this because I'm going to sound like a, I could be accused of like being a not nice Jew, but like, we don't know what we're here. We don't know anything. Anyway, so that's it. So that's, so he blesses both sons, and this is the archetypal I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. Yeah. Melissa, I mean, you're such a source of inspiration for me, man. I really appreciate the information. You really, I mean, I spent 2 days doing nothing but watching Alex Collier videos. I couldn't do anything else. They were so amazing. And now I'm seeing all these videos about Atlantis and finding all these structures like buried underground that couldn't have been built by native peoples. I mean, I saw a thing about a waterfall somewhere in the mountains, so I think it was North Carolina, and they're just saying that there's no way the native people built this kind of a structured dam. This had to be done by a very advanced civilization. It could be that not even we could build it now. Huge buildings, yeah. Yeah, and also I mean, like, now that the possibility has entered into my consciousness that we were here before, I'm seeing like I'm seeing Atlantis. Like Alex Collier was saying, you have to be able to envision where you want to go. I know exactly what it looks like. I mean, I know exactly where I want to go, what I want to, where I want to be. I mean, I can picture it in my mind. And how is that even possible, given that, I barely ever left New York, and I'm seeing these like cities where lights are used. I mean, I'm seeing like, I'm very into colors. I'm seeing like, amethyst and blues and greens and like built into structures where water is flowing. I mean, I have a fish tank, a very loud fish tank. I did it that purposely. You can hear running water in our little living space. We only have really, my house is really like a one-room house, and then it's small, the kitchen and it's all, I knocked down all the walls, and then we have 3 bedrooms upstairs. It's a little shoebox of a house, but I love this place. But anyway, yeah, I'm envisioning like running water, like waterfalls and fountains and colored crystals and glass, and so yeah, so we're on a new mission now. I think it's amazing how the information is coming out. Um, so anyway, so that's the basic bracha. Let's see how we're doing. I know I ate probably up more time than I should have. Now I want to get on to Tanya, because this is Torah and Tanya, and then I might end a few minutes early because I want to get to this protest. Oh, and by the way, listen to this. You will totally be you guys will love this. I lost my job, and I tried to get a religious exemption, and they never even told me why my religious exemption was denied. So they went through the first round of trials, and they tried to bring it to the Supreme Court. And Sotomayor, I actually know a cousin of hers. I was a teacher in one of my schools. But Sotomayor turned it down. She wouldn't hear the idea of giving us religious exemptions. So I think they're trying to put another case together, and this time I'm going to get to be a plaintiff. So I'm very excited about this, that I'll have some kind of influence. And I'm just like on fire about, the idea. I'm going to say this in code, but the idea of messing with your strands, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, is monstrous. Alex Collier says it's monstrous because that is our birthright. That is who we are. And that is why the whole galaxy is jealous of us, because we have this ancestral, talking about the kids, we have this like original, it's like heirloom plants, right, Carla Joe? I don't know if you deal with heirloom plants. I'm sure you do, but I try to grow heirloom tomatoes. It's like the original stock, man, before it was messed with by DuPont and all these people. And we were like that too, because we were like on this planet where we were enslaved to these horrific slave master reptilians. We never had a chance to achieve our true technological prowess potential and travel around the galaxy. We're stuck here. So our DNA is intact. So why would anybody want to do something that could affect that? I don't know. Yeah. So that's it. Okay, so let me go to the Tanya. Man, I love you guys. Melissa and Carl, Joe, you're just making my day. I do suffer from pangs. I do get pangs of loneliness, and I really, it's really nice to have company, even though I'm a total loner, man. I mean, I cannot hang with people. Yeah, really evil people. I don't know how you guys are, but man, I need my alone time, and that's why I get up at 2 in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning. I just need to be alone for a while. It's very important for me. Carlo Joe, you probably get up at the same time if you have a farm. Um, okay, let's see. So we're going to Tanya. Let's just go through this quickly so I can still get to my protest at the mayor's mansion. I know if you guys don't live in New York, so you're probably thinking, "Wow, it's so cool." The mayor's mansion. It's like, it is cool. It really is cool to live in New York. I mean, I love the country. I mean, I prefer the country, but I've really come to appreciate living on New York. I can get on a subway in a half hour. I'm in less than a half hour. I'm in downtown Manhattan. I can, I have a subway near 2 blocks, well, like 5 blocks from my house, which is a great way to travel. And I'm sure in the future we will be using the same things that the evil people used. Yeah, I'm sure, Carlo Joe. Yeah, it's. I think they say that, like, I don't know. They say intelligent people need a lot of alone time. Yeah, huge build. I didn't see that, Carl Joe. If you get a chance, only if you get a chance, if you could send me a link, I would appreciate it. But I'm sure I'll find it on my own. Oh, Dr. Zelenko. Robert probably doesn't know that I'm broadcasting live, but he will be. He'll. We're recording this, so it'll stay on the stream. So yeah. So this is like my new channel for 2 weeks until I'm out of my bad boy status. Okay, so Tanya, man, Tanya is so cool as always, but they're talking about something that's a really big deal for men, and it's they're talking about spilling seed. I'll just get right to it, and it says that even though it's really, really a bad thing to do, it's not as bad as mating with somebody and creating a child. And it says that if you say the Shema prayer at bedtime with a lot of kavana, which I have not been able to do, but before we go to sleep, now retired. So you're an empath. You're like me. You're an empath. Yeah, yeah. Because empaths can't take in the vibes of other people all day long. It's too much for us. Yeah, but I got to plug in. See how cool this is? I have everything at my fingertips. I know where I have my plug all set. I mean, that's why I love living in a small little house. I can't really imagine living in a big house. It's just, it's beyond my imagination. Anyway, so what they're saying is that if you say the Shema prayer, now, if you're not Jewish, you're not obligated to say the Shema prayer before you go to sleep. But really, it's a great thing. It's a great thing to do. I'm usually, like, in my cycle, um, okay, so I just found out that I thought I was going to get a free pass to be an accredited investor, but I have to, like, get my accountant to sign it. I mean, the IRS has raked me over the coals. I'm getting no income. Anyway, so don't, you guys, this has nothing to do with you. I'm just talking. I'm sorry. I'm talking to, yeah. So you're an empath. But anyway, so therefore the sin of wasteful omission is not mentioned in Torah among the list of forbidden coitions. I don't know if I pronounced it right. See, I'm not uptight about this stuff because I come from a secular place, and man, I mean, like, in my world, they all, Philip Roth, you know, it was, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but it's just, it's not considered proper. But it says that if, God forbid, you do it, um, having incestuous intercourse and giving birth to a bastard, that's what they say here. It's not my words, is a lot worse. Okay. So, all right. Anyway, so that's it. So reciting Kriya Shema, the Shema, before going to bed will have a profound effect in ridding you from evil spirits that surround you. So, I mean, what else do you need to hear? Carl Joe, do you have a copy of the Shema prayer? That's another thing you should probably look up if you don't have it. Melissa, you probably have it. You're very, you're research oriented. But tell me more about the blessing. Okay. Okay. Yes, you have the Shema. Okay. Yeah, we have it in all our Sidurim. This is my personal Siddur. This is my, like, this is my little book. I mean, I've had it since I went to yeshiva. It sticks with me. But we say the Shema prayer, and when I heard the Shema prayer for the first time, when I went to a reform temple, I think that was my first marriage, when I was about like 26, 27, 28, maybe. I got married first time. Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel. Hashem, and I'm not going to pronounce the name, this is the Hashem, the 4-letter name that's above nature. Elokeinu, I can say it with a K because I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Hashem Echad. So hear, O Israel, the Lord, the big guy, the one above nature, is the one in nature, and he is one. It is one. And then it goes on to say, you shall love v'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, your God with all. You shall love God with all your heart, livavecha. And the word livavecha has 2 vavs in it. And so the Kabbalists or the Hasidic people say that this means we have 2 hearts. We have the heart of the animal soul and the holy soul. I'm so touched, Carla. I'm just so touched by you, and Melissa too. I mean, I'm sorry I've been weepy today. I mean, I just, I stopped crying for like 30 years because I had an incident, but now it's coming back. My mother's a crybaby too. Anyway, so you should love God with both hearts, with both your evil inclination and your holy inclination, with all your soul and with all your me'odecha. Now, me'odecha means all your might. They translate it as all your might, but it really means like all your resources. Like really means like your money. Like it means your stuff, man, your physical stuff. And these words, this is what what I was saying was that when I heard it for the first time in a reform shul, I was blown away because it just like it went right to my heart. It was like, I know I've heard this before. I'm sure we all heard this before. So you will love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your stuff, your physical things. Place these words, Anochi Mutzavecha Hayom, places these words on today on your heart, Livavecha, to your heart. Lishinantam Livanecha, and teach it to your kids, Bidibarta Bam, speak them, Bishivtecha, when you're sitting in your house, and when you go on the road, bederech, when you're on the road, you also speak them. When you lie down and when you rise up, and there's a whole thing about why they say lie down before. Is it lie down? No, I think it's the up. I think it's the other way around. I think it should be when you rise up and when you lie down. I'm not sure. Okay, I should really get an English translation. Okay, you guys bear with me. Let me just get an English translation. That's why, having a bookcase right by where you sit is really good. That's why I built this bookcase because I knew I wouldn't be able to like see God and everything. Yeah, that's really what it is. But it's just, it's like none of the other religions really get it like just like this. It's like, and that was something when I first came to Nashville and I met my rabbi, he said, the thing that defines a Hasidic Jew or a Jew is the word total. In other words, like they're always doing something with Judaism. Now, that doesn't mean that we're on a higher level, Carla Joe, than you. I mean, you probably are more conscious of God than I am half the time. Just because I look like this doesn't mean I'm thinking about God. But one of the things that really freaked me out when I first came to Hasidic communities, I once had to sleep in someone's house, and I found out that they slept with their yarmulkes on. I was like, "Whoa, that's unbelievable!" And of course, now I sleep with my yarmulke on, but at the time, I was just like, I always put it on the bed table when I went to sleep. Well, why would you take your covering off when you're sleeping? That's when you really need it. You need protection, man. I mean, also these stringy things that we wear. I don't know if you see. You can't really see because you can't see my whole. But anyway, we wear these strings on our shirts to help us remember. Like, I need a lot of strings to remember not to do the wrong thing, not to look at things we're not supposed to look at. I mean, they say this will remind you. It doesn't really work for me. But I'm trying, man. I'm trying to do better. Anyway, so. Yeah, let me just get to this taich. So, taich means translation. You hear these words. A lot of words that I may say I just take for granted that but they used to do that to me also. I'd be like, "What is this guy? He's talking about avoda all the time. What the heck is avoda?" But it means service, but it means more than that. But anyway, so you shall love the God. You love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, with all your physical presence. And these words which I command you today shall be upon your heart, both hearts, both the animal and holy soul. You shall teach them thoroughly to your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk on the road, when you lie down. It is lie down first. And when you rise, you shall bind them as a sign upon your hand. Now, this refers to tefillin, which you might know about it. I think people call them phylacteries. That's such a weird translation, but tefillin is the straps we put on every morning, and they shall be a reminder between your eyes. This also, we put a little box in the middle of our head with straps, and you shall write them on your doorposts of your house and upon your gates. Now, is Melissa still here? Melissa, you still here? So I just want to say something. Anyway, yes. So it says that when Moses saw God, remember, Melissa. Oh, no problem. But I wanted you to hear this because you would help. You're like, I'm doing research with you. I'm not, we're doing this together. You're really my teacher right now. But it says that when Moses passed by the back of God, he was wearing these phylactery, the tefillin. I have to say tefillin, the tefillin. One day maybe I'll bring them home. I keep them in synagogue, but we put these like straps on our head, and they're not boxes. They're boxes on your head, and they're tied to straps, and the straps go down the front of your body. And then you tie a strap around. I tied around my left arm, and then it goes around your fingers, so you're like totally strapped in. So God, if and I'm just saying this to Melissa, I'm sure other people may see this recording, but if God was an extraterrestrial and he's wearing tefillin, I mean, that's what Moses saw. He saw the back of the tefillin. I mean, the tefillin, like the strap comes to the back of your head. And hey, Rob. Oh, I'm glad you made it, man. Thank you. So if Melissa, if God is an extraterrestrial, which I mean, you know, I'm not discounting. I'm not saying that like I'm not going to believe in Judaism if it turns out that, listen, things have to make sense. And every part of the puzzle has to fit together. And that's really what we're finding out. We're being woken up, we're being, bombarded with information, or we have access. We're not actually being bombarded. You have to really seek it. You have to want to find out. But I think it's very interesting that Moses was only allowed to see the back of Hashem. It just sounds so extraterrestrial. And he had these straps on, these holy straps. And that's why Jewish people, Jewish men, only Jewish men put on these straps. So, yeah. Wow. Carlo Joe, you're amazing. Rob, man, I'm sorry I didn't catch up with you. I'm going to a protest now. I have to go to a protest. I want you to know that I was included. I'm now a official plaintiff on a religious mandate. Oh, I don't want to say that word on this channel. A religious thing. You know what I'm talking about. Cube form geometries. Yeah. I mean, there's so much. I mean, that's why it's so great that we have Telegram. We can share all this information. Melissa gave me that. I don't know if you saw the Alex Collins tapes that I put on the channel, but they are not to be missed. And now Melissa and I are kind of committing to finding out about Atlantis and Tartaria, I think they call it. But I saw this, like in one of the films I saw, they had a fountain on top of a mountain, not a fountain, a dam on top of a mountain. And he said, there's no way, even now, we could even build such a thing. So I'm like, I mentioned this, I'm going to complete one thought that I started before, and that is that now that I know there were civilizations here before us and there were these big buildings, I'm starting to allow myself to have memories of seeing these things. And I think we all know about it. We all know. I mean, we have memories of all these things, and our as our strands start to open up, and they're saying the 21st of the month could be a big day for opening up portals. Yeah, I see a lot of geometry in my fantasy room now, which with all these color forms, I'm seeing like squares and rectangles and fountains, and but not a big. It's not a big space. It's a small space, but has a lot of different, really bright colors, like really deep purples and beautiful blues and aquas and green. I mean, so I think we're coming into the era of light. Cube, yeah, okay, yeah. Melissa's my source right now. All right, so I'm gonna cut this. Actually, I'm not cutting it short. Didn't I? When did I start? I started at 11, so I'm cutting it to 45 minutes. But we're gonna just keep it meeting every day. I mean, this is precious time for me, and blessings to you all. I'm sure we'll get more people as we go, and then we'll by the time we get a bunch of people back, we'll already have our other channel going, which is pretty amazing. It's amazing that we can communicate like this, even without, and thinking this is just the beginning of our technological journeys together. I mean, this is even in the metaverse, we can come together as physical beings. Yeah, 800. Yeah, I think they say 3,000 rumbles, but I don't know what that means. But it seems like I hardly get any hits on Rumble. Yeah, the protests are really, I mean, it's like my social time. It's really my, like when I go to the park, even I'm basically alone, but I have friends at the protest, so it's really more like a social event for me. That's probably why I'm going. But I mean, I have a lot of work to do here at the computer, but I need a break. Anyway, if Melissa, I really desperately need articles, man, I will share with you. If we make money on this, what do you call it? I have this, what do you call it? Web page. I think it's called a web page. Yeah, I have not a web page. Yeah, website. I have a website called Torah Prophecy with an S.com. and I need a lot of articles, or we need articles. They say the longer the better, and you could put a link. That's what I want to do, is put a link, because really all I'm doing now is watching videos. So I'll put the link on it, and then I'll explain why I thought it was important. But if anybody needs extra income, I mean, I can't promise. I'm just saying that if and when, these are risky things, but if you can write some articles for this web page, it would be greatly appreciated, because I have to write like 25 articles. I don't know when I'm going to get time, but it will take 25 articles to get monetized, and then we can then we can, if we make money, I'll pass it on. But these things take time. It's not like something you want to invest. If you're struggling in any way, don't even think about it. But if you can write, it would be great. Okay, so a rumble means a like. That's a like. A link of your new website on Rumble. No, I should. Okay, that's something I'll do. That's a very good idea. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna bow out now. I'm gonna run to my protest, and thanks so much for coming and finding me, and have the greatest day possible. This is going to be amazing times. I think it could happen this week. I mean, Alex Collier was saying it's going to happen in December. It could happen like next week. All these bad boys will be gone. It'll be a whole new feeling on the planet. Maybe that's why we're here now. Maybe there already is a new feeling. There is. Anyway, I'm not going to linger. I love you guys. I'm already making this into a big Jewish goodbye, and I apologize, but have the best day. I'll reach out to you guys. Carl Joe, I think I'm going to send you some emails, and that's it. Rob, thanks for coming. We'll talk. Yeah, I'll be back later today if you want to talk. I'll go for a few hours. I'll be back, and that's it. May the force be with you, and God bless. Bye.